Hello everyone, Tom Liptay here. In this video I'm going to explain how the new Metaculus tournament scoring system works. If you're interested in the details, you can read more about it on the Metaculus website under this discussion post. The thing we're most excited about with the new system is that we hope it will reward forecasting skill more than the previous system. The old system allowed a bot which mechanically copied the community median at all times to do quite well in a tournament and to win real money. So we're attempting to close that loophole. What I've created here is a spreadsheet that's publicly available, so you can follow along and change the numbers if you want to see how all the math works. In this simple example, we're going to work through a tournament that has a $1,000 prize pool. It only has 3 questions, only has 3 forecasters, and each question is open for a total of 4 days. Already we're going to make one change from the old rule. We're going to keep the community median hidden for the first 2 days and visible for the second 2 days. Let's see how question 1, which is a binary question, gets scored. In this table, you can see each forecaster's forecast for each of the 4 days. Forecaster A starts at 10%, updates to 55% later. Forecaster B joins on day 2 at 90%. At the bottom, you can see the median forecast. And you can also see how the mechanical bot that I talked about forecasts as well. On the first 2 days, the community median is hidden, so the bot does not forecast at all. On the second 2 days, it mechanically copies the median. So given these forecasts, and given that we know the resolution was yes, or 100%, we can calculate the log score for each forecaster on each day. So we do that by taking their forecast, dividing by the median, and taking the natural logarithm. So on day 1, if we do that for forecaster A, we take the natural logarithm of 10% divided by 15%. And that gives us a negative number. On day 3, forecaster A is forecasting 55%, but the median is 55%. The log of 1 is 0. So that's why you see a 0 here. Finally, we take the weighted average of the log score on each of the 4 days to get the forecaster's score for that question. There are a few things to note. A negative score means that you did worse than the median. In this case, 10% is further from the outcome than 15%, so forecaster A got a negative score. And we can see here forecaster B's 90% forecast was closer to the outcome than the median, so they received a positive score. One thing to note is that because the bot either doesn't forecast or always copies the median, it always receives a score of 0. We can see that here. So the other key component of the existing Metaculus system is a coverage number. And this is meant to reward participation in forecasting. This log score rewards the accuracy of forecasting. So in this table, in each box, you get a 1 if you were actively forecasting on that day, and you get a 0 if you weren't forecasting on that day. Again, we take the weighted average to calculate a forecaster's coverage on a particular question. Forecaster A forecast every day, so they received 100% coverage, while forecaster B forecast on 75% of the days. Again, we'll note that the bot does not forecast when the community median is hidden on the first 2 days, so it receives a 50% coverage. In this tab, we'll consider how a continuous question would work. So I'm going to switch this. On a continuous question, you're asked not to provide a probability, but to provide a probability distribution function. So this is an example where the question was, what will GDP be next quarter? And we can see forecaster A provided a PDF here that was reasonably peaked between 1 and 2. Forecaster B provided a very broad distribution centered between 2 and 3. And forecaster C forecast a very narrow distribution. In this example, we imagine that the resolution was 2.0. So to score this question on day 1, I should say these curves are assumed to occur at a specific point in time. We'll call it day 1. The only thing that matters when calculating the log score is the value of the curve at the resolution point. So here we can see B had the highest value, so he is going to get the best score. Forecaster A is in the middle, and forecaster C will get the worst score. So I've taken those and I've put those into this table here. We can also calculate the median. Now, I'm not going to show days 2, 3, or 4, but let's imagine that these were the values at the resolution for all those days. And given that, we can calculate the log score exactly like we did for the binary question. In this case, forecaster A's forecast always matches the median, so they receive a 0 score for every day. Forecaster B is always above the median at the resolution value, so forecaster B receives a positive score for every day. And in this table, we calculate the coverage exactly like we did for question 1. Again, the bot receives 50% because we're hiding the median for the first 2 days. Finally, we're going to talk through question 3, and then we're going to see how they all get combined to make a tournament leaderboard. So in question 3, we're going to consider a binary question that closes early. An example of this might be, will the stock market cross 4,500 before the end of the week? And let's say we launched this on a Tuesday and it happened on a Thursday. So then we didn't even bother collecting forecasts on Friday. Again, in this example, here are the probabilities that forecasters entered. It's worth noting how that forecaster C did not forecast at all for this question. And forecaster A withdrew after day 3. So when we calculate the scores and the coverage, if a forecaster either hasn't joined or never joined or withdrew, in every case, they are imputed the median forecast. So they receive a 0 score on that day. Forecaster C receives a 0 score for every day because they never made a forecast. And then when we look at coverage, if you're not forecasting, you get a 0. So forecaster C got 0 coverage because they never made a forecast. The one thing to note is that when we're calculating the log score for this question, we don't just average over the 3 days that it was open for, we average over all 4 days. And this is important to make sure that the scoring rule is proper. So at this point, we have calculated the log score for every question and for every forecaster, as well as the coverage for every question and every forecaster. Now we can combine them to make the leaderboard. And this is exactly how the old Metaculus tournament scoring system worked, aside from this hidden period. Here we have forecaster A's log score on all the questions. I sum them up to get forecasters A's tournament log score. For coverage, I have forecaster A's coverage on every question, and I take the average of these to get forecaster A's coverage for the tournament. I do the same thing for B, C, and the bot. And then I've taken this column and transferred it over here. Taken this column and transferred it over here. So these are the numbers that you will see when you look at a leaderboard on the Metaculus website. If you go to the trade signal tournament right now, you'll see both of these columns. Now, to calculate your prize, we do an operation that involves taking the softmax. So first we take the coverage and we multiply it by the exponential of your log score. Here I've done this for forecaster A. Forecaster B has a much higher capital S value because the exponential of positive number is greater than 1. And forecaster B also has a reasonable coverage. So this column right here tells you the relative prize between forecasters. To calculate the percentage of the prize pool that a forecaster wins, we take the softmax. Another way of saying that is that we sum the capital S values for every forecaster. That's here. And then we calculate the forecaster's take by dividing their capital S by this sum. So we see forecaster B wins 78% of the prize pool. These all add up to 100%. In the machine learning community, this is called taking the softmax. And hopefully this makes reasonably intuitive sense. Forecaster B was the most accurate forecaster and participated most of the time. So forecaster B receives the biggest prize. Forecaster C was not a great forecaster and didn't participate as much as A or B. So forecaster C is receiving a smaller prize. This is how the current Metaculus scoring system works. This is how the trade signal tournament prizes were calculated. Now, one annoying feature and part of the motivation for introducing our new tournament scoring rule is that this mechanical bot, which just copies the community median and adds no value, is still winning prize money. So the question is there something we can do to reduce the prize money of the bot and to reward accurate forecasting? And we think the answer is yes. So maybe the first thing to note is that we've already reduced the bot's prize winning in this example by hiding the first 2 days. That has reduced the bot's coverage over what it would get in the old system where the bot could copy every day and it would get a coverage of 100% and a score of 0. So we've already taken a positive step in this example, but can we do more? One thing we can do is if we make the coverage determined by your participation during the period when the community median is hidden, then the bot's coverage goes to 0 because it never forecasts when the community median is not visible. And accordingly, it wins 0 prize money. So that is really the key idea behind our new system. There's another knob that we can turn. We can put more weight on the scores on the forecasts that are made while the median is hidden. But we can also choose to weigh every forecasting day the same for scoring purposes. So that's the end of this video. I hope this has helped you understand both the old Metaculus scoring system and the new system. We think it will reward better forecasters, and we hope it increases forecaster motivation. As a longtime forecaster, I'm pretty excited about these changes. Just once again, you can find the full write-up on the Metaculus website. And thanks for listening. Bye-bye.